quiet down a minute. Hold it. Now, that was specially, I see Mr. Titterman down here from the advertiser. That was to show you how Adelaide audiences appreciate things, you know, Harold. Now for these, we've been waiting. Stop! Stop! Now you're gonna be a good audience, aren't you? You're not going to do silly things like they do overseas and everything. Please stay right where you are. Scream after the numbers. Please, let's hear them sing. What can you say? Wait, I want complete silence. Complete silence. Shh. Complete silence. You can't say anything else. But ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles. Hello. Hello.
Oh yeah, tell you something. I think you understand when I say that something. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. Oh please, say to me, you let me be your man. And please, say to me, you let me hold your hand. You let me hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. And when I touch you, I feel happy inside. It's such a feeling that my love I can hide. I can hide. I can hide. Yeah, you got that something. I think you understand. When I feel that something, I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. And when I touch you, I feel happy inside. It's such a feeling that my love I can hide. I can hide. I can hide. Yeah, you got that something. I think you understand. When I feel that something, I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Hello. How are you? All right? Good. Well, first of all, we'd like to say that we'd like to thank everybody for the marvelous welcome we've had to Adelaide. Thank you. Marvelous. We'd like to carry on with a song which we recorded.
Thank you, everybody. Please. Just one moment. Can you just sit down for a second? Even though... Just a minute. No, shh, shh, shh. Even though you didn't do what I said, but it was marvelous anyway. And I'll tell you what, you're great. You're great because you didn't go mad and jump in the aisles and come up to the stage. Please, you're a fabulous audience. Adelaide has never seen anything like it. When you go out, quiet. When you go out, would you please go out to the right annex and the left annex and move right to the side. Nobody is allowed backstage, so please don't try. Thank you very much, and good night. And don't forget... And don't forget who brought the Beatles to Adelaide. John Martins.
The Liverpool sound, the Mersey beat. Wherever they've performed, from England to Australia, from the United States to Hong Kong, the Beatles have been a sensation. They've made millions, yet success doesn't seem to have changed them. They love to clown. It's a long way from Melbourne to Liverpool, and a longer way from the original Beatles, the Quarrymen and Skiffle group, to the Liverpool group that is now top of the charts throughout. Beatlemania extends to commerce. The Beatles get a percentage from pendants, badges, photographs, stockings, and a score more items rushed by their fans. They're big news. A story about them sells more newspapers, more magazines, and there doesn't seem to be any limit to the number of people who want to climb on the Beatle bandwagon. Even the pet shop owner who thinks Beatles are for the birds.
They think your haircuts are un-American.
Well, I was very observant of them because we aren't American, that's good.
Throughout Australia, huge crowds have gathered at airports and in the streets to see them. This is their second arrival in Sydney. The Beatles drive to the Sheraton Hotel at King's Cross, where thousands more fans just hope to see them. On our left, the Beatle followers. And just across the street, there's opposition from the fans of pianist Arthur Rubinstein. It looks like a popularity battle between Ringo and Rubinstein. The pianist is mobbed. From Sydney to New Zealand, and the Beatles arrive complete with a huge stuffed kiwi. Everyone's happy, especially when Paul rubs noses with a Maori. It's just too much, as the teenagers say. Then there's the familiar procession of triumph, and the uninhibited, fun-loving Beatles are clowning again. There are crowds everywhere they go. They always seem to be on stage. John Lennon paddles a war canoe, and the fans love it. And now, by kind permission of the Beatles manager, Brian Epstein, and Ken Brosiak of Aztec Services, who brought the group to Australia, let's go into the Sydney Stadium for exclusive...
conference, television conference in South Australia, the fabulous Beatles.
Welcome.
Welcome, boys. Thank you. Hello, John.
Johnny.
Hello. Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Hello.
John again.
Hello.
George. How are you?
How are you? How are you, George?
Hello, George.
Welcome.
We're out in the tabulator.
Where's Jimmy Nichols?
Whatever happened to Derek Taylor?
We now have to turn our backs to the multitude. Violet.
Oh, well, fellas, tell me, what did you think of the Adelaide reception?
That was great. The best ever.
Was it like what I mentioned to you on the plane it would be?
Yeah, it was better. Yeah.
Was it like anything you've ever had before?
No, we've never done one of those drives as well. It was marvellous.
How would it compare with the ones in the United States when you arrived at different states there?
Bigger. It was bigger. Just more people there.
Do you think it was very well conducted?
Yes, so everybody was well behaved.
Did you get a fright at all outside the town hall?
Shock. Because so many.
Do you ever get this feeling that maybe someone's going to sort of try and knock you off or something?
I had a feeling Michael got shot. Because it's the first time being sitting in the back of a car waving, just...
You took a lot of shots, I noticed, in the car, George.
Yeah. I was going to posse.
You're a very keen photographer, George. In fact, you all are, aren't you, fellas?
Yeah. He's the most...
We haven't to have his camera out.
What was it you dropped off the balcony, Paul?
That was me.
It was him who dropped something off.
No, it was... No, man, you dropped me.
I was joking!
Yeah.
Were you disappointed that the airport was closed, that the kids couldn't get close to the plane?
I didn't think it mattered now, with them all being able to see us anywhere along the road. Because they saw us better than, I think, by lining the roads. They saw us better than if we'd have just...
Jim, come here, Jim.
Hello, Jimmy.
Here he is, Jimmy. It's Jimmy Nichols. Drummer for Ringo Starr. Tell me, what did the Lord Mayor say to you?
He said it was very nice to have us in. He was all pleased and have a drink.
And what did you say to the Lord Mayor?
Thanks. It's nice to be here.
What did you drink? Rum and coke?
No, just Coke, actually.
Yeah.
Fellas, a few questions that we didn't get down to yesterday. How long do you rehearse a new number for? When you make up a new number, how long do you rehearse it for?
Sometimes takes an hour or two.
But normally with new numbers, we just we don't rehearse them until we record them.
He's a Hong Kong.
Tell me, John, with these tapes that you wore today, did you pick one of these up in Amsterdam or something, didn't you?
No, with the first one we saw was in Amsterdam when we were going through these canals. Some lad had one on. And we couldn't get any. No, we could get one which wasn't the right colour, green. So, yeah, we had 4 made in Hong Kong, copies of this one in different materials. Correct.
John, I, being a little older than you for good-looking gentlemen, just a little older, as a matter of fact, I will remember the launching of Frank Sinatra and Johnny Ray and Elvis Presley. And yes, fantastic. Very good tonnage, but this to my mind is unprecedented by virtue of the fantastic build-up and the publicity and all the press agents, and I'm not detracting in any way from the talent that you obviously have. How much do you attribute to Brian Epstein and his public relations men? And how many are there to your knowledge?
We've never had more than one PR fellow with us, ever.
There's a rumour about it.
And he's only got one, Brian's only got one for each artist he's got. So they have their own, and they don't work together. And we've only ever had one, and most of the time we didn't have one till about 6 months ago.
But even so, a lot of the success is due to
Oh, yes.
I'll give you that.
Yeah. Jimmy, do you think that Brian Epstein's going to wave his magic wand at you sometime and include you as a 5th Beatle? Or a stand-in drummer for Ringo permanently?
That I don't know.
Jimmy, you've played with many, many groups indeed. Would you like to tell me quickly? I know it must be at least a dozen.
Yes, I've played with Saul Stapleton,
Yeah.
Oscar Rabin, Billy Fury, John Brown, Francis Fay.
Georgie Fay. What happened to
Georgie
tickets last
Fay.
night, Jim?
Pardon?
With Francis Fay. What happened there?
Don't ask him personal questions, Ernie.
No, he went to play the drums, didn't he, Jim?
No, I didn't go down to play the drums. I went down to, enjoy myself.
Yeah. And how did you get on stage? How did you get up on stage? Did she call you up?
Well, as soon as I walked through the door, she was just finishing her act, about 10 minutes, to the latter part of her act, and she said the Beatles are coming because everybody turned round. And she invited me back to the dressing room where we had
he didn't tell us about that.
where we had a drink, and then the second show, I did the whole lot.
He played drums for a whole act.
Yes.
She gave you something in return, didn't she, Jim? A little...
She hasn't given... She hasn't given me anything yet, but she's going to. She's going to give me all her albums, and also she's having a sweater made for me.
Oh.
Terry, having played with all these bands, what's it like being suddenly thrust in with the Beatles?
Oh, that's the end, you know.
Do you have any trouble getting the same beat as Lane John?
Well, I do my best.
Fellas, have you ever been involved in any zany publicity stunts?
No, we've never had to actually. They sort of happen. Anything that's a bit zany usually happens.
When we were first starting off, we were trying to think of them. We didn't have a manager or anything, so we just sort of sitting around thinking of ones we could. One, we were going to try and get one of us to jump in the Mersey and swim it, but
none of us could
swim that far. So,
I don't remember that.
And anyway,
keep saying it all the time.
That's true, John. It's true.
You remember? I think you were a bit on your own then.
I remember when I was 5, and I thought, I'll jump in and I'll swim the Mersey. They weren't with me at the time. I'm a liar. I'm sorry.
What have been your most exciting moments in show business, individually? George?
I can't remember. There's so many. You know, it's ever since last September. You know, everything's been exciting. I think when we got to America and we found that they'd gone potty on us, and when we got back to Britain last October, we'd been touring Sweden, and when this Beatlemania thing started, you know, we didn't hear about it because we were away, and we just landed in London, and everybody was there smashing the place up. that was good.
Look, fellas, you've had this talent, of course, potential talent some years ago, but in your wildest dreams, did you ever anticipate that you would reach the stage that you have reached now?
No. You know, nobody imagines anything like this.
What about your act tonight at the Centennial Hall, your concert? How long will it last tonight? Your own particular segment of it?
30 minutes each house. 30 minutes each.
And are you constantly changing your act, or is it?
We change it according to each sort of, sometimes city or state, or depending on what records are most popular. We usually change the order because they've only got the same amount of records released in each place anyway.
What about when you played the Royal Variety performance last year for Her Majesty? Same act as always?
Yeah.
I think we had 2 jokes in that one because people weren't screaming so they could hear what we were saying, you know. That's the only difference.
And it was shorter as well.
You were telling me, I think it was George on the plane coming down from Sydney. I asked, had you ever thought of playing in pantomime as a group, the Beatles? But you did do a special show.
Yeah, we didn't like the idea of doing a pantomime, so we did our own show, which was more or less like a pop show, but we kept appearing every few minutes, dressed up, you know, for a laugh, doing all...
Nobody laughed, mind you, we were.
Do you do comedy sketches on stage at all in any touring shows in England?
No, only just for Christmas shows. And we've done a couple of sketches in TV shows.
Do you get nervous before any shows?
Yeah. All of them.
All of them. So you ever trouble with, the hordes of screaming fans outside the hotel or where you stay for sleeping purposes? Can you sleep through all this sort of thing?
They never stay there all night screaming, I've never known.
Well, last night they're up till about midnight, you know.
Well, I mean, I don't even dream of going to bed before 1.
You weren't scared of being hurt by over-enthusiasm? You've never been hurt?
You don't. Well, that's why we're not scared, because we've never been hurt. Maybe if we had, we'd be a bit worried about it.
In South Australia, not only teenagers go wild over it, but maybe you noticed today coming in from the airport that a heck of a lot of adults, especially grandmas.
Yeah,
it's the same in England?
Well, I've never seen so many grandmas at once. You usually get a couple. One, if there's a bunch of them, one sort of say, by the time we've gone then. But they all seem to know.
You seem to be all very attentive. You can see what's going on. I noticed behind you in the car that you could sort of follow everything that was going on, people with different posters. You're really looking at the people, aren't you?
Yeah, sure.
You're very aware of everything around you.
Yeah, well, I think you've got to be, you might get shot.
Did you enjoy the rain?
Well, only standing there in your new coat.
Soon as they got soaked, though, we didn't mind.
We'd like to pay a tribute for you coming on the open cut in that cut ground because the kids have been waiting all night and they appreciate it.
Well, they deserved it, didn't they, waiting all night?
Yeah. I hope you were wearing drip-dry clothes, were you?
No, we thought it was going to be stormy.
George, who selected the name the Beatles and how did you derive this particular name with the PEA instead of Beatlemania?
got the name Beatles ages ago, you know, when we needed a name and everybody was thinking of a name and he thought of Beatles.
Why the BEA instead of the BE?
Well, actually, you know.
Well, you know, if they left it with BEE, it was hard enough getting people to understand why it was BEA, never mind.
Paul, what do you expect to find here in Australia?
Australians.
Do you have any acknowledged leader of the group?
No, not really.
We heard you stood on the balcony outside, is that right?
Pardon?
We heard you stood on your head on the balcony outside.
No, we don't have here some room.
You didn't stand on your head.
How do they think it's going Hong Kong? Did you get full houses there?
Yeah. No, a few 5 quid seats.
Yeah, 5 quid left. You know, a bit hot, weren't they?
I would heard it. I would see me in for 5 quid.
No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't say any of you for 2 bob.
John, has the Mersey beat changed since you've been playing it?
Oh, we still keep on saying there's no such thing as Mersey. It's something the press made up, you know.
Well, what do you play the same
roll.
way now as you did?
It's rock and roll. It just so happens we write most of it.
Has Buddy Holly influenced your music at all, John?
He did in the early days, obviously, you know. But, no, well, not obviously, but he, you know, he was one of the greats, you know.
So did James Thurber, though, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, but he doesn't sing so well.
Have you been practicing up your Australian accent?
No, Carl, we're not at all. We can't get it, you know.
You think you'll be writing any songs with Australian themes?
Yeah. No, we never write themes about anything, you know. Just write the same rubbish all the time.
You play the kind of music you want to play or the kind of music you think people want to hear?
No, we've been playing this kind of music for about 5 or 6 years or something like that. It's just rock and roll, you know. It just happens we write it.
Well, what do you think made the difference that suddenly put you up above the other groups?
Well, we got a record contract.
Speaking of records, what record do you all agree on, generally, as your best recording? Not the best seller, but as the best recording musically.
You mean our favourite?
Well, we always like the one we just made, don't we? So it's Long Shore Valley for me.
This is your latest one?
I like.
Well, it's quite new, you know.
I like. It's not even a standard.
like.
Sorry. I like You Can't Do That.
What do you like, Jimmy?
What about you, Jim? You haven't seen anything.
Yeah,
How do you
I like
feel,
that
Jimmy,
one.
being in with the Beatles?
Pardon?
How do you feel being in with the Beatles, the newcomers, standing in for Ringo?
It's a good experience, man.
How is Ringo?
He's much better. He joins them on Sunday.
What do you do then?
I go back to London and they're fixing up a band for me and I do some television.
And he's away?
Yeah, you're progressing pretty well with your Beatle haircut.
Yeah, well, I've been growing it for about 3 months. But...
How long does it take to get a magnificent mane like this?
I don't know, I can't remember being without it.
Do you ever go to the bar with John?
No, you know, I haven't had my haircut since the film. The woman on the film cut it good, but I don't trust anybody else.
This is the film Beatlemania, is it?
No, it's not called that. That's another story.
It's got Hard Day's
Night, it's called.
Are you satisfied with the finished product?
Well, it's as good as anybody that makes a film who can't act, you know.
This tour is going to be all too short for your fans here. And the next thing we'll see of the Beatles is the film.
The film, yes.
Now, tell us about the film. We haven't heard a great deal about it.
Well, you know, it's us sort of meant to be acting, which we can't, but they've got a good director, you know, so they sort of almost make you act, you know, they cut it so well. You know, you do about an hour's rubbish, and he takes a minute out of it, and it looks as though you're doing quite well.
Now, is it an ad-lib film? Did you just go onto the set and carry on, or is there a storyline?
Some of it was ad-lib. Some, you know, they definitely had a script. It was written by Alan Owen, who writes good TV scripts. Yeah. And, well, we changed a lot, but it was a bit of trouble for the established actors, because we wouldn't give them the tagline, you know.
Well, Wilfred Bramble, of course, Steptoe.
Yeah.
He was in the movie with you. Did he have any problems with you as a group carrying on like this?
Just the first, till we got to know him, you know, but he's one of, you know, one of those good people that can fit in anywhere, and he fits in good. Yeah. And he sort of got, you know, we found our level.
Had you a chance to get to know him, or vice versa?
Oh yes, we got to know him. Well, we were on it for about 8 weeks, you know. You do get, and he's in it throughout the film, and we got to know him well. You know, he's a laugh.
Now, in some of the press and television interviews you did yesterday, someone said to you, "Are you religious?" I think it was you. I said no. Now, does this mean you don't believe in God, or you don't believe in religion?
Well, you know, we settled for calling ourselves agnostics, because we don't, you know.
Okay. And another question you were popped yesterday was about sport. Now, Australia's a great sport-loving nation. I think a lot of people may have been a little bit upset by your answer that you didn't like sport.
Well, we can't be everything to everybody, you know, at all times, or whatever they say. We're agnostic about sport, too.
What about when you were young? when you were kids in Liverpool, did you pursue any sport then?
Oh yes, when you're a kid. I mean, it's not some sort of a big. It's just it's just something to do. And we used to play football, and I did when I was about. Gave it up at 14. You know, that's when you discover the other things, isn't it?
Well, I was talking to Mimi on the plane coming over, and she said that when you were young, you were very serious. You did a lot of writing as an 8-year-old, and some of the stuff in your book, actually, she said you'd written when you were 8. Is this
Well,
true?
no, she got it wrong there, Mimi, didn't you, if you're watching? No, I was never serious. I was serious about writing, you know, although I laughed when I wrote it. But she means serious in as much as I said, keep it and stop throwing it away,
yes.
You know. But I was never serious.
Well, how did you meet up with the rest of the boys? You've known them all for quite a long time.
I met Paul when I was about 16, I think. I was playing with this group at a church social agnostic church social, and he just came up because, you know, to watch. And he knew somebody that I knew, and they introduced us, and he knew the words to one of the songs that I didn't know. I said, do you want to join the group? And he did. And then George came about a year later, you know.
And when did you meet up with Ringo then?
Ringo we met in Hamburg. He was playing with another group. And, you know, we thought we'd liked his style, but we'd only just got up the other drummer, so we couldn't do anything about it. But when we got the chance, we did.
Well, now the 4 of you are back together in Australia. Obviously, the reunion yesterday was a very happy one for all concerned.
Yes.
I think the 3 of you had missed him. This is the impression I've gotten all along, that there was something missing, or there seemed to be, and it was obviously Ringo.
Yeah, well, you know, it's bound to be. We've been together now, you know, all that. And it is funny when one of you is missing, even though Jimmy did well, you know. Obviously, it's not the same as the 4 of you together.
The crowds gave Jimmy a wonderful reception in Adelaide.
They did, they were very good.
But then when I think it was Paul, or was it you, said that Ringo was coming, they went wild. And then they quietened down because they realised they wouldn't see him.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yes. Now, getting back to your book for a moment, you've been compared to many famous writers. How do you feel about this?
Well, it's flattering, you know, but I haven't heard of half of them. I've heard of some of them, you know, but it's just good, you know. I don't mind who they compare it with.
And what gave you the idea to compile all the stuff you had and publish it?
Well, I'd got these odd bits, you know, sort of hanging around the house, and then we did these weeks in different seaside resorts in England, and we were stuck in the hotel like we are now. And so I just started doing more than I would normally, till it seemed it was piling up, you know. Then I started doing drawings to go with it, and then I sort of forgot about it. And then I met this American who was a writer, and I was talking to him, and he said, well, you know, let's have a look. And he showed it to a publisher, and they said, oh, stick it together, and we got a book, and that was it.
And it's just been released in Australia.
Released is the right word, isn't it?
It certainly has. Has your picture on the front, and I guess, do you think your fans will buy it because it's your book and understand it? Do you think there's much hope of expecting this?
Well, this was a sort of problem in England. The publisher thought the fans would buy it. I wasn't sure, you know. I just thought some of them would buy it, because some of, you know, they're not all stupid, you know. Most of them are at school still. So at school your brain's more active normally than it is when you've got left school and gone to work and gone, you know, in the factory now, isn't it? So I thought it'd be a 5th form kind of thing. You know, but it...
And it has been well received then by the teenagers who've watched.
Yes, they understand it. I get a lot of letters written in that sort of, you know, back to me in the same kind of language.
Well, critics have been saying it's sick.
Well, I mean, some of it is sick, you know,
It is,
so
yes,
what? There's a lot of sickness about it, isn't there?
Well, seeing all these marvellous places and seeing, actually seeing things that are in the paper like refugees and, you know, seeing the conditions that they're in and everything, because people are happy, you know, but they still live under very poor conditions. You know.
Have the crowds been surprising?
Oh, yes, phenomenal.
Do the Beatles get this kind of a reception back home in Britain?
Not to the extent, no. I think streets don't allow it. The streets are much bigger over here, you know, but in London they're a bit smaller. But nevertheless, there's always a huge crowd.
What do you feel you're taking back with you apart from experience?
Oh, damn, that's a hard question.
Money in the bank.
Yeah.
And this little fellow here, I think we probably can see him this morning strapped to your luggage. Is there a story to him?
Yes, he comes from Hong Kong. Yes, it came down, you know, little Chinese girl gave it to me.
Do you have any change of plans in mind as a result of this experience of working with the Beatles?
Well, I hope to do something, you know, something that I want to do. Now there might be a possibility that I might be able to do something.
What do you mean by something you would want to do?
Well, get maybe earn enough money to study in America. That's what I want to do, study drums in America, music, and learn to arrange.
The Beatles manager, Brian Epstein, is here with you this morning to say farewell, and I'd like to bring him on camera because I know he would like to say a word before you leave.
I'd just like to say to you, Jimmy, that the Beatles and I are really very, very grateful for everything that you've done. You've carried out a fine job for us. We're very pleased. I hope you have a great trip back to London and every success to you in the future.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Their shadows fall, sun fades away, gone. Clock ticks on, relentless time. Hearts beating wild, looking for a sign. Just another day of running blind. Neon lights blazing, streets alive. Leather's on and we're ready to stride. Sky turns dark under moonlit drive. Chasing dreams, trying to feel alive. Another day, another fight. Lost in the maze of the night. Reaching high for stars to stay. Hoping tomorrow finds our way. As shadows fall, sun fades away. Clock ticks on, relentless time. Hearts beating wild, looking for a sign. Just another day of running blind. Neon lights blazing, streets alive. Ladders on and we're ready to strive. Sky turns dark under moonlit drive. Chasing dreams, trying to feel alive. Another day, another fight. Lost in the maze of the night. Reaching high for stars to stay. Hoping tomorrow finds our way.